Hi, I'm Richard Maraj, Senior Minister at Unity of Phoenix Spiritual Center, and I want to thank you for visiting our website and for tuning in to today's message. If you feel inspired by today's talk, I really encourage you to make a donation by hitting that button below and making a contribution to this ministry. It'll allow us to continue these messages online and to do the great work we do here at Unity of Phoenix, which is to inspire people to live better lives. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for your support, and we hope to see you at a Sunday real soon.
Is she fabulous or what? One more time, Kristen Plembeck. Woo! All right. Morning again, everyone. And a shout out to everybody who tunes in and watches us online. Welcome, welcome. So this woman had twins, and she decided to give them up for adoption, and one of the babies went to a family in Egypt, and they named the little baby Amal. And then the other twin went to a family in Spain, and they named their little guy Juan. And years later, Juan sent a picture of himself to his birth mother, and upon receiving it, the mom was just, her eyes were filled with tears, and she said to her husband, I wish I also had a picture of Amal. And the husband responds, honey, they're twins. If you've seen Juan, you've seen them all. Oh, come on. Okay. Not my best, I agree. But I want you to know the intention I have every Sunday is to make you feel good. It doesn't always work, but I just want you to know that that is my intention, to feel good. Because when you laugh, you feel good. When you laugh, it relaxes your mind, it opens your heart. It keeps us more present and engaged. We're more open, we're more teachable. We're more receptive when we feel good. Research is showing that there is a lot of power in feeling good. That there is a lot of power in feeling good right now and not waiting till, we lose the 20 pounds or find the right one or get the promotion. That there is power in feeling joyful and happy and fulfilled in success, and we do not have to wait until that achievement or that goal is achieved. That we have the ability to cultivate, to experience and express feeling good, all kinds of feelings that feel good, and that energy that we create from feeling good actually has a causative, a creative, and a generative power that attracts more things that make us feel good. And the thing that we need to remember is the fact is that we are creators. That we have the power to create and to decide how we feel about anything in any particular experience or situation in life, of how we want to feel on a regular and daily basis. And that when we cultivate and own and create our feelings, that is an act of spiritual emotional maturity, as well as an act of self-mastery. But the fact is, we weren't taught that. We weren't taught that we have the power to create our own feelings, to cultivate our own feelings, so we tend not to choose them consciously. We tend not to cultivate them, and we underutilize our creative abilities and powers to generate not only these good feelings, but to attract even greater things. Instead, we grew up in a culture that really taught us the best way to improve our lives and to increase good in any area is through goals. And goals are good. They bring clarity. They help us learn about ourselves, help us be more focused, more energized, and effective in creating things. You read any business or personal success book, it talks about goals. How many people set goals, like goals, do goals? Okay. How many people don't do goals? They're lazy, or you just don't like it, or all right. And so the thing about it is, I want you to think for a second. Think about goal setting. Think about goals, and what feelings are evoked when you think about goals and goal setting. And what's interesting is a whole range of what people feel. Some get excited and feel energized. It helps focus them. They love goals. They love always setting goals. But some people don't like setting goals. It's intimidating for some people. It brings up a fear of, what if I don't do it? What if I'm not good enough? We have a fear of, and some people feel pressure and stressed by having and setting goals. Goals are valuable and important. There are a whole range of feelings. But there are two things we can do to help improve the quality and the power and the effectiveness of our goals. And the first one is look at the energy and the attitude with which we do them. Sometimes when you're driven with goals and you're going out of desperation or needing to prove yourself or being aggressive and forcing things to happen, sometimes it's not as much fun to do goals. And then sometimes when we don't infuse it with the feelings of feeling good, sometimes they can be more burdensome. They can be more onerous and not as enjoyable. Today we're in the second week of our 3-week series on a book entitled Desire Map by Danielle Laporte. And in it, she really says that the greatest creative energy in the world is desires. That desire is the reason we set goals. Desire is the reason we come up with visions. Desire is the reason we ask and seek. Desire is what is at the root of wanting a better life, wanting to have more success and happiness. In fact, she says desire is the foundation of our will to live. That it's desire that causes all of that. And she said, we think our desires is about stuff, about job, and about this and that. And she said, what desire is really at the foundation of it is what we want to feel. Is it want to feel good. The reason we want the job, the relationship, and whatever we don't realize is because we want to feel good. And so what she says is that we need to cultivate the 4 most powerful feelings we want to experience every day in our lives. That if you could create exactly the feelings you want, what would be the 4 most dominant feelings you would want to feel every day? Like when you wake up, what would you like to feel? About your work, what would you like to feel? When you go into an important meeting, what would you like to feel? When you hang out with your family, what would you like to feel? And she calls them the 4 core desired feelings. And these are hers. You can make up anything you want. Hers is to feel divinely feminine, to feel connected, to feel innovative, and to feel affluent. Others could be is to feel adventurous, to feel loved, to feel energized, to feel prosperous. You can feel creative, you can feel confident, you can feel enthusiastic, you can feel compassionate. It goes on and on. Mine are to feel joyful, to feel inspired, to feel deeply grateful, and totally loved. So we are creators, and we can create the power of feeling good in any way, and it does great things for us. Feeling good increases our flexibility, our effectiveness, and there's a magnetic energy about feeling good that draws even greater things. And when we think about feeling good while we are pursuing our goals and working towards them, sometimes we think, well, that means we're probably not going to work as hard. No, you can work hard and feel good. Because when you know that you're doing it to honor your spirit or your greater or higher purpose, there is a joyfulness in just doing those activities. But it really absolutely makes a difference. Because if we feel miserable and hit our goal and target, that's not success. That feeling good needs to be a priority to the point that even if we don't reach our goal, we still feel good. That we want to feel good more than we want to tick off an accomplishment. We want to feel good more than we want to please other people. We want to feel good more than a certain image or status that we want to create. And so what she says is to be effective and have soul-centered goals is that we need to go after our intentions in a way that reflects our core desired feelings. That when we anchor it in knowing how we want to feel, that should lead in our goal setting. And she said when she has shifted from that focus, it actually has changed how she writes her goals. She said typically she'd write a goal like this: make X number of dollars from project X. She said now she would write something like, get our message out and our product out to as many people as possible so that as many people feel good as possible. And she said instead of saying launch project Y by springtime, she has make project Y beautiful and launch it when it feels right. No dates, no numbers, no status. And you know what she said? She said her shoulders relaxed. Her heart felt like it got spritzed with something refreshing. That she felt softer, she felt gentler, she felt more open, and she felt more trusting. And it connected her more with her feelings of wanting to feel connected and wanting to feel affluent. The fact is, feeling good is at the center of the law of attraction, that it will attract greater things. And that's a whole departure from a regular thing. Goals are about hitting your numbers, setting your numbers. And so it's an interesting thing to learn and to progress and set your goals in a totally new and different way. And she says if you want to have soul-centered goals, they must be in alignment with your 4 desired feelings. And it's a matter of working from the inside out instead of the outside in. See, typically the way we set goals is we're pretty rote in our goals. Every year for New Year's, most people, you know what they have? Get in shape, lose 20 pounds, spend more time with the family, get out of debt. These are what the goals are. Spend more time reading. Like, anybody have some of those? Because we are by rote doing some of these thinking, if I do these things, then I'll feel happy. That's outside in. This one's saying is, how do you want to feel? And then begin to ask yourself the question is, what do I need to do and have an experience to cultivate those feelings? In my work, what would I need to do to create those? In my relationship, what would I need? For my health and my energy and my own well-being, what would I need to do to cultivate those feelings? And she said we need to be able to start switching and to go a little deeper inside and look at what we're setting goals on outside. She said one goal could be, get a 2-bedroom house in the city. Automatically, we could think, well, that's a great one. That's perfect. But if you go a little deeper, maybe it'd be like, you don't need that financial burden. Maybe renting is a better thing. It'll give you more freedom to connect and to feel more prosperous in different ways. Or maybe it is to move downtown. That's a good place to connect. But you need to examine it for yourself. There aren't right or wrong answers. There are ones that feel more connected to you to help you feel more fulfilled. So my question for you is, what do you need to do and have an experience to feel the feelings you want to feel? In your relationship, in your work, with your health, with your energy, because it's an important thing, a valuable thing. So here are some things she says we need to do about the things that we want. The first one is, you got to want what feels good to want. I don't understand that either, but here's what I'm going to try. She said we could want a whole bunch of things. We could want enlightenment. We could want a BMW. We could want our own space to do our own artwork. We could want a secure job. We could want an Academy Award. We could want a new bicycle. We could want tuition to be paid. We want economical housing. We could want a year off to travel. We could want a new car. We could want to forgive someone. We could want to have $1 million. We could want to have hardwood floors. We could want to have white teeth. We could want to have a new cappuccino machine. There are all kinds of things to want. But here's the most important thing is, don't judge or criticize what you want. Wanting less isn't worse. Wanting more isn't better. Don't judge yourself by what it is that you want. Just connect with what it is that you want. Sometimes we think if we want something other than what we have, that we're necessarily not appreciating what we have. That's not the case. We're just making a new choice. What we have is good, and we're just making a new choice. We aren't doing anything wrong right now because we are where we are. That's just where we are. If you want something, want what feels good to want. Sometimes we think we want things that seem paradoxical or that are in conflict. Like, I want to be a devoted parent, yet I want unbound freedom. And we think these things, and then we feel bad about it. That's not right. I'm not a good parent if that's what I want. But the fact is, you can want both, and you can have both. And the majority of the year, a devoted parent doing all kinds of activities, but maybe make a commitment to 1 week a year, renting a cabin in the woods in the quiet, and just being there with your gluten-free organic foods and a journal, and just be peaceful right there. We think everything's about conflict, and we feel bad about wanting what we want, and we really don't need to. There is room, because if there's a want in you, that's something you should really give yourself. And there are all kinds of paradoxical things, and I know people who are like this. I know a doctor who also wants to be a painter. I know a lawyer who likes to direct plays. I know a teacher who's a singer-actor. I know a guy who does air conditioning. He's a specialist in AC, and wants to be a yoga teacher. That there are these different aspects of ourselves. That we want something that's challenging and invigorating, but we want things that are quiet and peaceful. And it's okay to give ourselves both. Because the bottom line here about wanting what feels good to want means that you feel good about what you desire. You don't feel bad. You don't judge it. You don't criticize it or put it down or say it's wrong or say that it's contradictory. No, it's just what you want. And let that be okay. And the second one is related and goes a little deeper, and that is that it's important to feel worthy of what it is you want. Because sometimes we feel guilty about what we want. I've heard people say, is it okay for me to ask for $1 million? Is it okay for me to pray for so much success? Is it selfish? Is it greedy? Is it inappropriate? Is it ungodly? And the answer is no, that guilt and what you desire they shouldn't be in the same room. It's okay to want what you want and don't feel guilty. You know why? Because you're worthy of it. That you're good enough. You know what the number one thing that stops us from getting all the things we want? It ain't a lack of stuff from God. God ain't holding it back. It says it's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Jesus says, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you're received and it'll be yours. He doesn't say, hey, some of what you ask, maybe you might get. He says, whatever. That means it's unlimited. It says all things are possible with God. So there's no lack. The only thing that holds us back from receiving all the good is how much we feel worthy of receiving. How much love we feel worthy of receiving. How much success. How much greatness. I've had a time where I had an opportunity to have a lot of success and I got scared, thinking, can I really handle all that? What if I mess things up? We all have some areas where we don't feel good enough to get all those things we want. And again, the connection between knowing what you feel and what you want and feeling good about it, because feeling guilty is going to resist the very thing. Feeling unworthy of it is going to push that very thing away. Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you've received it and it will be yours. And to believe it means to accept it and receive it. To know that you're worthy of that success and to feel good about having it. And to feel like you've got it all ready. So your worthiness is the number one indicator of how much good you let in. And the fact is you are good enough. You are God's beloved child in whom God is well pleased. That all this good is awaiting you to accept it and to feel worthy and deserving of it. I am worthy of my desires. Together. I am worthy of my desires. Deep breath. I am worthy of all God's blessings. Together. I am worthy of all God's blessings. Deep breath. I am worthy of success and happiness. Together. I am worthy of success and happiness. I am worthy of peace and a prosperous life. Together. I am worthy of peace and a prosperous life. I am worthy of feeling good. I am worthy of feeling good. Deep breath. I am worthy. Together. I am worthy. Half voice. I am worthy. Okay, let's say it. I am worthy. Deep breath. And so my question is, how much love are you willing to let in? How much success? How much joy? And can you get to a place where you feel good, that you are good enough, and that you are worthy of all your good, of all that you desire, to get that good feeling? And then the final one about our goals is to let go of the goals that no longer serve us. I think sometimes we hold on to dreams for years that aren't coming to fruition, and they're just there. And you don't want to get rid of them, but we just kind of have them dangle there. They no longer serve us. They're not good for us. They have no meaning for us anymore. They exhaust us. We're not connected to them, and yet we keep working towards them. Struggling and banging our heads against the ground, not having a good time, moving towards them and pretending that everything will be good when we get them. How many people ever reached a goal and it still didn't make you happy? Anybody? Okay, 5 of us, good. How many people are pursuing a goal that isn't going anywhere, hasn't been going anywhere for a long time, you're not happy pursuing it, and yet you keep pursuing it, okay? And so sometimes we hold on to things that don't serve us. Sometimes we keep beating a dead horse, and hopefully things will change. We do that. We just keep on holding on to those old things. You know, ancient wisdom says that when you discover you're riding a dead horse, that the best strategy is to get off and to dismount. And instead, we try to get a stronger whip to beat the dead horse. We appoint a committee to revive the dead horse. We change the requirements of the standard of debt so it no longer meets our dead horse. Or we buy a computer program to enhance the performance of our dead horse. So the point we're trying to make is that the most important thing when it comes to our goals is get in the right relationship with them. And that right relationship with any goal is to feel what you want to feel good, what you want to create of that feeling, and then feel good about that particular activity. And it's to feel good most of the time. When I talk about feeling good, I'm not saying don't feel sad or angry or grief. In fact, it's important to feel all of our feelings. But what I've noticed about life is that sometimes, even when there isn't anything to be sad about, angry about, or grieve about, we will still stay angry and sad and grieved. I'm sure we've all been in a room where nothing's wrong and you're feeling down and blue and angry. I'm sure we've all had a situation that we're still stewing over something that happened 2 years ago, and we keep those feelings alive. And so it's not a matter of feeling good all the time, but when you need to feel sad, feel sad. When you need to grieve, grieve. When you need to feel angry, let it move through you and not get stuck in you so you can move on in a healthy way to feel good. Just making sense, everyone? So it is not a pie in the sky, just feel good all the time. But if you cultivate it and do it, you will feel good most of the time. That higher energy and vibration of feeling good will become more of a norm in our lives. The final thing that we need to do is decide to rise. Because sometimes in our lives, we choose to play small. We choose to settle. We live very cautiously and tentatively. You know, we sell ourselves short. And sometimes you got to be bold and say, I'm going to show up bigger in life. That I'm going to open myself. I am going to step out in a greater and more wonderful way. And you need to decide that I'm going to rise, that I'm going to transcend any limitation or fear that I've allowed to hold me back until now and take a quantum leap towards the life and the person I've been called to be and the things that I've been called to do. The book of Job, chapter 22, verse 28 says, decide upon a thing and it will be established for you, and the light of God will shine on your path. But you've got to decide. So in what area of your life are you ready to rise? In what area of your life are you ready to take your game to another level? In what area of your life are you willing to expand yourself? You know, to expand what you've been called to do and to explore the fullness of who you came to be in this universe. What area of your life are you ready for a breakthrough? Because when we are ready, we open a space for God's grace. We open a space for a great quantum leap. And they happen. J.K. Rowling was broke and struggling and depressed. And through her desire and her willingness to open a space, she made a quantum leap of success. And I'm giving you like a huge example. That's a pretty big one. But I'm saying it could be for all of us in all areas. If you've been holding on to resentment for a long time, being willing to let it go and surrender it to God can be your quantum leap to more peace than you've ever known. Maybe holding back and scared to love because you've had your heart broken. If to heal it, release that, can open a space for a deeper and more sacred love than you've ever had before. And the conditions of your life doesn't matter. The age of your stage doesn't matter. Randy Posh was dying at the age of 45 of pancreatic cancer. but he opened a space and did his last lecture about childhood dreams as a gift to his children. He died at 47, but he made a bold breakthrough in doing this lecture that blessed him, blessed his children, his family, and 19 million people have viewed that YouTube of that lecture. Andre Ingram last year, I told you about a guy whose dream was to play in the NBA. He played in the D-League for 12 years at the age of 32, which is unheard of to be a rookie at the age of 32. The Lakers signed him for 2 games. He waited 12 years to play 2 games, and it inspired millions, and it fulfilled his dream. Sometimes it isn't about, doing these huge, outrageous things, but it's what for you is a quantum leap. What is a big thing that's a game changer for your life, for your desires, for your spirit, for your soul, that'll make a difference for your family and your community. Everyone wants to feel good, and that's a good thing. We should be cultivating feeling good because we will attract more good into our lives. It is the law of attraction. It is the law of cause and effect. But along that path of feeling good, we need to recognize the areas where we might judge ourselves and feel guilty and hold on to things that don't feel good, because that blocks the flow and the channel of us expressing and creating greater things in our lives. Do you know the more we allow ourselves to feel good, to feel more connected with our soul and God, the more of our wholeness and the fullness of the Spirit and the light of God that is in us can come forward. If you want your life to go to another level, I encourage you to cultivate feeling good. Practice feeling good. Practice expressing good and enjoying feeling good. Because then all of your goals and intentions will bring you nothing but good. God bless you all.